Super professional intro with no music so I don't get copyright struck. Struck. Yeah! Hello there, and welcome to the ship tour video of my ARGO Medium Flatbed Lifter. My name is Whimperman, and I am the Chief Builder, Chief Designer, Chief Architect, and Chief Dumbass of the ARGO MFL project. So some of you may or may not be aware of the game Star Citizen, which is forever in development. And within Star Citizen is a manufacturer called ARGO Astronautics. Here is the Star Citizen website with some of the ARGO ships, and as you can see, the MFL is based on the ships of this manufacturer. Now, it's not a copy of any of these. I've made it as if it's made by the same company, but it's not a copy of these ships. So first, we're going to take a quick tour around the outside, and you can definitely see already where it gets its name from. It has some flatbed pads for carrying ground vehicles, 2 on each side. The front ones are 20 by 15 blocks, and the back ones are 15 by 15 blocks in size, and that doesn't include the railings, that's the space in between. So I actually originally built this ship in Space Engineers, which, as you can see, doesn't look quite as good. And the reason I prefer Empyrion is because of how good you can make the ships look. And as you may or may not know, I do love my pipages even in Empyrion, and you would think that would mean I would prefer Space Engineers because at least they have actual pipes that actually do something. But actually, I actually don't. Who is Ashley anyway? Right, let's carry on around. So we can see we've got a turret on top, which is similar to the ARGO raft in Star Citizen. We've got some turrets on the thruster housings here. The thruster housings contain all of the lift thrusters, including the max thrust, which you can see are off at the moment. So, yes, all of the ramps go at once, and so they are quite loud. As you can see, compared to the one in Space Engineers, the engine nacelles in this are much flatter, and I've changed the shape more. That's because the Space Engineers one, the nacelles contain the hydrogen tanks and the large hydrogen thrusters, all of which are 3 by 3 by 3 blocks, which then dictates that the nacelle housing them needs to be 5 by 5. I didn't show you a very good view of the arse end in Space Engineers, but it was flat, whereas this has more of a shape to it. So I'm much happier with the way this one looks. I forgot to pause time. So the reason I'm in the exosphere of a planet is because I need to be able to walk around on the inside so we can see, and in Empyrion obviously we don't have jet boots, we don't have magnetic boots and we don't have a gravity field on small vessels. So as you can see, with all the light green lights that are light green, the lights are... Ow, now I'm deaf again. How many times am I going to go into those sensor fields and trigger them ramps? Right, yes, there are plenty of ways in, and that's in order to facilitate what the ship is for. So the idea is you've got vehicles... Yeah, I think you get the idea, and I'm going to go inside so I don't keep triggering them bloody ramps. So here is the main on-foot way in, and I'm going to turn my God mode off. Is. So that switch there does these 2 spotlights, but so does the landing floods. So you can turn those lights on 2 different ways. Okay, let's go into the foyer lock. Yes. So the doors, I haven't put them on any sensors. They are all manual, because I personally prefer them that way. So as you can see, we have a little room for getting ready for going out onto the surface of a planet. Now this version in Empyrion has a ramp that goes up to deck 2 from this deck, but the original in Space Engineers has this elevator. Running out of breath. And second floor, menswear. Right, so if we go out the back of the foyer lock, we will go upstairs later. I might need to turn my HUD on, just so I've got the little crosshair for opening and closing doors and triggering stuff. So this exterior passageway here, which is labelled, brings us out onto the front flatbed pads. And as you can see, the lights and the decorative consoles are automated on a sensor. If we go in through the cargo bay door, we will find, shock horror, a cargo bay. Now this cargo bay also contains the freshwater tanks, in air quotes, because this is just carbon substrate. They also contain the bio-waste tanks from the toilets and the shower, supposedly. Toilet, there's only one. They are actually container extensions that are part of this container. That's all that's in here, so you've got plenty of storage. These are 8,000, I think. Yep, just over. So we go further back now into an airlock, which is another way in and out onto the front pads. If we go back to the next room, we have this foyer, which is exactly the same as the one on the front. But the original, in Space Engineers, has this ladder instead, in a much smaller room. So in here is the same equipment as the foyer lock, so we got a bit of storage here. We have your armour lockers, and we got your breathing gas points here. We go further back into another airlock. As you can probably guess, this is for the rear pads. And then we have the ship store, and this is where the main oxygen storage is. Actually, I'll leave that open now. The ammo is in here, as well as the fuels. So I was testing this ship with in fact, the debug missile launcher that's on my hotbar right now, to find out how the chain reaction explosions would happen when you take damage at the rear. You can put more fuel in here and more oxygen if you wish, but the way it's set up now, they won't chain react. So let me go into God mode. So these tanks on this side won't blow up these tanks, and these tanks here won't blow up either. And they also won't chain react to your oxygen or to your ammo. On top of that, there is a bit of fuel in the nacelles as well, which are up through these shutter doors. So if you do take damage at the aft end as you're running away from stuff, because this is only 1 block thick of normal steel, you won't be dead in the water, hopefully. So, that's this deck done. Now we're going to go up this ramp. And we're going to go into engineering. So this is the engineering lobby, and there is a couple of constructors here and a little bit of storage for the output for these. We go into engineering, you'll find the core, one of the 2 Wi-Fi's and the extensions for the CPU. There is also the reactor with 6 generators, the warp core, the pentaxid tank, and the shield generator. Mind your head! Ow! Now we're going to move forwards into the habitation area. Yes. Where, as you can see, we have a shower. That's kind of the best I can do, but I'm okay with it. That'll do. Yep. And then we have a toilet as well. Now on the actual Argo ships in Star Citizen, the toilet and shower are usually in the same room, and they're like maybe 2/3 of this, maybe a half the size of this. Now the reason we've got plenty of room up here is because the pads outside govern the size of this section of the ship. So because the pad is 20 blocks long, that makes this area 20 blocks long, and that space then affords us an extra bit of luxury with the space of our amenities. So we have some lockers here, air quotes, and then we have some bunk beds here, again air quotes. And each bed has its own little storage locker as well. Move forward where we've got a place to eat, nice screen there, kitchenette with another constructor. This outputs, I think I set it into one of these. Oh no, it's one of those. So input and output I think I've set it to. Output fridge, yes I have. Place to sit, another place to sit. This is the workstation, supposed to be. Got a couple of bookshelves there, air quotes. Let's move forward. This is the cockpit lobby, the same as the other lobby further back. 2 constructors and a container controller. This is so that if you're going out onto the surface of a planet on foot and you need to craft something, maybe a couple of multi-charges for your multi-tool perhaps, you can come up here and do it, and it's, you know, reasonably close by. Cockpit time! Yes, I'm going to set it to night time actually. That's not night time. There we go. Yes. I'm very happy with how this has turned out. Obviously, all of the regulation lighting that's on the outside of the ship, it all bleeds through. Not much I can do about it other than not having the regulation lighting. But, in my opinion, I prefer having regulation lighting on my ships. So, I kind of have to deal with it. But there we go. This is the cockpit. We'll have a quick look at the signals and stuff. It's all fairly explanatory. Oh, I will tell you about this. So the exterior doors... Wow, thrusters are really loud. So for example, this drone hatch. If you accidentally leave it open... What's that? Oh, it's the ring of the planet, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. Let's put it back to daytime real quick. Yeah. So as you can see, the drone hatch is open. Now if I go to... Oh, wrong button. If I go to here and I click exterior doors, it will close anything that's open that's considered an exterior door. So the 2 airlocks, the exterior doors there, the one leading into the cargo bay there, that one on the front, that little switch will close any that have been left open, but it won't open them if they're closed. On top of that, the ramps, as you saw, there was a signal for the vehicle ramps, and it does all of them. But if we get out of the seat, they are also operated in other ways. Turn your crosshair back on, there we go. So, they are automatic, as you saw earlier. Loud! They're connected to the signals on these beams here. I meant to say the sensors, but then I couldn't correct myself until these ramps stopped moving. So they are automatic, and so as you drive away in a ground vehicle, they will obviously retract again. But if you want to leave them extended, there is a lever on all of the pads for doing so. It's always the bottom one. And if you need a bit more light on the pads, shush! I know I'm flicking the lever and making them do it. Right, if you need a bit more light on the pads, there is some spotlights controlled by that lever there as well. Yes. Right. I think that'll do. Although I did want to mention and then completely... I did want to mention and then completely forgot. The reason I included in this tour that the original in Space Engineers had the elevator and the ladder is because I feel that if this ship was in Space Engineers, that's what it would have. It would have an elevator at the front for ease of use, and it would have the ladder further back for if the power is off on the ship and you can still get up and down between the two decks. Obviously we can't do that in Empyrion. It's a bit of a shame, but the ramps are the best I could do. Although I was tempted at one point to rip the ramps out and pretend that there was an elevator here and build a pretend ladder in the one further along, and just have the players jetpack up and down between the decks. But I decided against it, obviously. You would probably still have to jetpack if you were in a high G world, and if you have a look on the screens at the front, you'll see it can perform slightly in a high G world. See that? Let me turn that off again. So with max lift on, it can do something in a 4G world, but it's not much. But it can do something at least. And actually, you could add some more thrusters because this is its CPU usage. Nearly 82,000 out of 100,000. So if it came to it, you probably could get off the surface of a 4G world with carrying stuff. Right, I think that's going to be the end of this tour. So thank you very much for even considering using this ship. If you do use it, I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you in the next video. There is actually the building of videos as well. I'm linking that in the description. There'll probably be only one video actually. I'll probably put it in probably a long video probably that's only probably one. Say probably again, Wimp. Right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Super professional outro! Just to give you time really to remove this video from your watch later list or something.